Now he's throwing it back up in God's face and listen, look here. This thing you created is delivered to me. But if you bow down and worship me, see, his whole goal is to usurp authority or put himself above God. But if you bow down and worship me, you hear me?
Amen.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I give it to whomsoever I will. If thou wilt worship me, all shall be thine. And Jesus answered and said to him, God, get behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou. I want y'all to keep this in mind, what's being said here, because Satan's whole job is to get what God created to worship him. There's some things that are happening in our own backyards that we're overlooking as a church. And it's time for us to come out of our wilderness experience like Elijah. Are y'all hearing me? And we need to be like a voice of Elijah to call these things down.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. And he brought him into Jerusalem and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down from hence. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against the stone. You know that Satan knows the scripture.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's talking to him about some scripture here. And Jesus said unto him, he said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And when the devil had ended all the temptation, he departed from him for a season. So in other words, when we able to stand up and resist the devil, he'll depart. But he's only going to depart for a little while. He's only going to depart for a season. He's coming back. And he's going to try to tempt you again. But I want you to see something here, is that what his goal here is to get you to bow down and worship him. And what happens is sometimes what we fail to realize is that when we're going through things, it's the time to turn to God, not to our own selves or not to Satan himself. Yeah. Are y'all hearing me? There's some things that are happening, but the wilderness is a barren place, it's a dry, it's a riverless land. Amen. It's a riverless land or region. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's severe, it's just hard. You know, and this is what happens when we say we're going through the wilderness. We talk about going through hard times. Right. Sometimes it's a time of loss, sometimes it's a crisis. Amen. Sometimes our relationships go through crisis. Right. And all. We know you've been married for a period of time, or you've been together for a while, and it ain't just in the marriage, it's in our family dynamics. Sometimes we go through a crisis. We go through situations in our life. Amen. We have tragedies that happen. Sometimes we just feel lonely. We don't feel like we have nobody else. I'm all by myself. Nobody knows my trouble. Nobody knows my sorrow. Amen. Sometimes it's conflict and just problems. Like every time I turn around, there's a problem. Right. Every time I turn around, I'm crying about something. Right. Amen. Things are just coming up against me. You know, nobody hears me. Nobody's listening to me. These are wilderness experiences. Yeah. Are y'all hearing me? Yeah. And going through the wilderness, I want you to understand it's not a bad time in your life as much as it is a holy time. Amen. All right. Are y'all hearing me? Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. I believe it's Deuteronomy. And we're going to go through some scriptures here a little bit, but let's look at Deuteronomy 8th chapter. It's a holy time. It is at this time where, even in Deuteronomy 8, it says, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness. Listen at this. He led them for 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. It's a holy time because at that time when they came out of Egypt, what happened? Pride had set up. And Moses had went into the mountain to pray, and he didn't come down in the time that they thought he should have came down, or they thought God had killed him or something, amen, and they had Aaron build the calf. Remember that word, calf, the golden calf. So he had Aaron build the golden calf and all. And so when they came down, then God split the earth and destroyed the calf and a lot of people of Israel, right? So now, because of their disobedience here, they had to wander through the wilderness. It took them 40 years to make an 11-day journey. Are y'all hearing? 40 years to make about an 11-day journey. But he said, thou shalt remember the way which the Lord God, thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. Keep going. Wrong chapter. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, that's bread from heaven, or what they call angels' food. And the word manna means, what is it? They didn't even know what it was. To this day, they don't know what it is. It was just something that came from heaven that they could eat, and they called it manna. What is it? Which thou knowest not. Neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. You heard that just a minute ago. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee. And I'm saying sometimes we're going through a wilderness experience, God is just wanting to see where your heart is.
Yeah.
And in that experience, God is still providing for you. He's still taking care of you. And he's not allowing, you walk around in the same shoes all the time. Your feet are swelled, you start getting achy. But he said your foot didn't swell. Are y'all hearing me?
40 years.
Yeah, your clothes didn't wax old. And, a lot of people don't wear the same outfit twice. Are y'all hearing me? But go ahead to the next one. He said, but whom the Lord thy God chasteneth, therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills. First of all, let me say this about the wilderness. The wilderness is the place where Moses is getting his word from God. So the wilderness is the place that we can hear God. Yeah. So we can't always hear God in the midst of distractions. When the TV is on, we can't hear God. When we're on Facebook, we can't hear God. When we're arguing and fussing and fighting, we can't hear God. Yeah. Sometimes when the money in the bank account get low, we can't hear God. When my health and my body and things are not going well in me, I can't hear God. Are y'all hearing me? But it's in that place where I get alone and I begin to stop complaining and start opening my ears and closing my mouth that I can begin to hear the voice of the Lord. Yeah. Are y'all hearing me? For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive oil and honey. Listen here. We may not always have the good right now, but it's not going to always be that way. If we learn to listen to the voice of the Lord, he'll get us to a place where we can hear, and he'll bring us out of our situation, are y'all hearing me, and turn things around. I've seen people come into the church that didn't have eye water to cry with. Are y'all hearing me? Y'all hear me? That's the old expression. They didn't have eye water to cry with. I remember those my mother would just say, I ain't got eye water to cry with. That means they broke. They ain't had no money. They have nothing. But I said when they have nothing, but they have a job, they didn't have anything, but God turned that thing around, and all of a sudden they get a blessing, and God turned their situation around. Why? Because they got into a place where they can hear God. Therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to fear him, for the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land. Don't repeat the same thing, James? A land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness. So right now, he said, listen, I'm feeding you every day. Yeah. I'm feeding you all the time. Manna's coming down from heaven at a certain time. There was points in there, you see with the children of Israel, he said, listen, don't even take nothing and wait for tomorrow with it. Just eat what you can, take only what you need for that moment. Are y'all hearing me? But now he says, you shall eat bread without any scarceness. Thou shalt not lack anything. In it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes which I command thee this day. Because now he says, I'm going to bless you, but listen to this. Don't forget what I'm doing. Don't forget it's me. Because if you turn away from me, there's some things that's going to happen. Go to the next one. That's when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that has been multiplied. Then thy heart be lifted up, talking about pride, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee out forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint. He said, who did this for you when you didn't have these things?
Right.
Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end. Go to one more.
Yes. Thank you.
And thou shalt say in thine heart, my power and the might of my hand had gotten me this wealth. He's telling them to remember that I brought you out. God always reminded the children of Israel, go to Jeremiah 29. God always reminded the children of Israel that I'm the one that brought you out of Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm the one that fed you in the wilderness. I'm the one that gave you water in the wilderness. He said, don't forget these things. Don't forget these things, because if you forget these things, you're going to go into bondage.
Yeah.
See, that was the price that they would have to pay coming out of Egypt, that they forgot the things of God, that God's curse or God will come back and they would have to pay the price for it. God's judgment will come upon them. And if we go further to Judges, you find where the children of Israel was turning to worshiping idol gods. And one of the idol gods that they began to worship was Baal. Did I tell y'all, remember the golden calf? They began to worship Baal. One of the things about worshiping Baal, one of the symbols of Baal was a brazen bull. I told you some things are happening in America that we need to open our eyes to, and we need to begin to stop thinking that the world is not going to end. We need to stop thinking that God's judgment may not come upon America, because we're right in the midst of some things happening right before our eyes.
Yes.
Are y'all hearing me? I told you guys about several months ago that just in America alone, they ordered 30,000 guillotines. 30,000. Half of us in Georgia, half of them in Montana, but that's not the end. That's not the end. On Wall Street, in America, on Wall Street, they built a 7,000-pound brazen bull. And they call it the Bull of Wall Street. But guess what? It's not only in Wall Street. It's in Dallas. They got one in Pennsylvania. Shanghai. Germany, all centered around the stock market. One of the things about worshiping Baal is centered around prosperity.
Come on.
We got to open our eyes, and this is the thing that Elijah was dealing with. And they was idol worshiping, and people don't understand that, because people are getting on top of these bulls because they don't understand what they're doing and what's happening. They get on top of them like they bull riding, taking pictures and posing with these bulls. But they got security out there around it too. But that's in New York, Times Square. Or I don't know if it's Times Square, but wherever the Wall Street is. That's New York. But that ain't all that's in New York.
Right.
They built an entrance, they replicated ISIS. Y'all know ISIS, the terrorists. Yeah. ISIS went into Syria and destroyed the entrance gate to Baal. They destroyed it. There's an entrance pathway to Baal. That's old. That's the Romans built that. An entrance here, that's the passage into worshiping Baal, the temple of Baal. Are y'all hearing me? ISIS goes into Syria and destroys the one that was in Syria, and then they rebuilt it in New York, a replica of it in New York. Okay, you got that replica, Jay? That's New York. And it says, if you look at that, it tells you that it's a replica of the entranceway to Baal.
My God.
They said it right in front of our eyes. I don't went to the bridegroom coming to end times message here. But they entranceway to Baal, and they're taking this, and there's some college students that did this, and the government, they come in and they say they're doing it in defiance. They say they're doing it in defiance of ISIS, but it's Baal worship. Baal worship is centered around prosperity. Are y'all hearing me? Sexual immorality of all kinds. Guess what? America, y'all know America stood right there and said it is legal for two men to marry each other, two women to marry each other.
Yep.
Are y'all hearing me? And the president that we so love, is the one that put that into law.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me? It do come a point, and I know how we all might have felt when we put the first one in. But sometimes it comes a point, not sometimes, but it comes a point where before we vote our color all the time, we need to really vote our belief. We need to check our hearts and see what we truly believe, because at the end of the day, all politicians, most of them are liars. They want our vote. So it do come a point in there sometime where we have to look at, what do I truly believe? Baal worship, you know what else was offered in Baal worship? Children were offered up in sacrifice. At that time, y'all see the bull's head. At that time, you had thousands of children being offered into sacrifice. Since that Roe versus Wade, there's been over 60 million unborn children. We have to open our eyes. Go to the next one, we don't want to scare nobody. We have to open our eyes and understand, just because the world says it's okay, don't make it okay.
Come on.
It's not okay. Are y'all hearing me? Where we at? Jeremiah 29? Look at this. I think that's why it's important we know who God is. What his name means, because when we're facing these things, it said, for thus said the Lord, that after 70 years, now Jeremiah is hearing the voice of God, and they're in captivity now, because in Deuteronomy, God said, if you forget that I brought you out of Egypt, if you forget that I'm the one who did these things for you, if you forget that I fed you in the wilderness and gave you water, you're going to go into captivity. I'm going to judge you. Now they're in captivity, and Jeremiah said, for thus said the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you and cause you to return to this place. Even in all that, God is saying, listen, you're still my child. He's saying this, you're still my child, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall you call me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken to you. And you shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart. He said, then. So we have to be careful what we allow ourselves to succumb to and what we allow to happen before our eyes. He said, woe to them that call good evil and evil good. We have to be very careful. But it is in the wilderness that God spoke to Moses in the burning bush. It's also in the wilderness that God spoke to Elijah in a still small voice. It's in that wilderness point with Elijah. Amen. Go to 2 Kings. No, 2 Kings. I believe it's 2 Kings. No, it's 1 Kings. You're right. 1 Kings. In 1 Kings, the 18th chapter, here it is, and I'm not going to read through all that, we'll just paraphrase through, but Elijah is facing, well, let me go to, you don't have to go there, James, I'll go there. 1 Kings, the 16th chapter. You got it already? 16 and 30. Listen to this. Ahab becomes the king. Now here's something that happened. In the book of Judges, the children of Israel turned to idol worship. They was worshiping the God of the Philistines and all the different ones that they faced up against. Samuel comes along and he cleanses them. And he gets the people to turn to God. From that point, Samuel, even Saul, King David, Israel is not worshiping idol gods. Even though Saul turned to a witch doctor and all that stuff at that time, but they still had a faith in God. They didn't turn to idol worship as a nation. Solomon comes along, and Solomon was fine for a while, but then all of a sudden, for political reasons, he began to marry foreign women. and marrying these foreign widows, he introduces idol worship back